Hi Vinay,
Hi.
happy Diwali.
Yeah, happy Diwali. How are you?
Very good. How are you?
Yeah, doing good. So you're Delhi, is it? Where are you? Which part of NCR?
Noida, Noida. You are?
Noida. I used to be in Bangalore, now I'm Chennai. So I'm working from home.
Oh,
It's more
wonderful.
convenient. Yeah. So I was
Chennai.
just going through your profile while you just pinged, right? I see you've done a lot of things around marketing and branding, right? I see
Yeah,
that
yeah,
you.
that was my core. Then this, I always tell this kida of entrepreneurship has killed my all my creative.
And you're involved with NCPI and yeah,
NPCI basically, which is Rupee and UPI. So
nice.
primarily manage their offer platform,
Hmm.
and we are exclusive with them. And
Uh-huh.
now currently are working with about 40 odd banks now.
Nice, nice.
So
And you help them with activations, lead generation, awareness. So has things changed in the COVID period? Have they changed?
yes, a lot. See, except what we saw is typically it's 32% of the card spends, which is the credit card spend, happen through the on the restaurant at the dining space, and another 10-15% happens. Hi Jagat,
Hi, Rohit. Hello, Vinay. How are
Hi
you?
Jagat,
Long
how are
time.
you? Yeah,
good
All
to
is
see
well.
you.
Formula One racer.
Hi Jagat, and
Oh, yes. Number one racer. Hi, Rahul. Nice to connect you.
Rohit,
Rohit, sorry. So sorry.
it's okay.
Glad to connect.
Happy Diwali, happy Diwali.
Wish you
I
all the
see you have
same.
new features. You have like a blur stuff and all.
It's really nice.
Yeah, yeah. I see a new feature and stuff like that.
Yeah, there are a few, quite a few. I don't know when you last checked, probably some time back.
I check mostly as an audience. Now, yeah. So the audience and the speaker is similar or different?
Slightly different. I mean, here obviously we have all the controls. You have the record, blur off, all the other features more. You can see in the dock. But the audience basically just the view mode, right? And they can post some comments and they can also raise hand. So we have the raise hand that's disabled now that you can see down. So when CrowdProduct enables it, it allows the audience to come on video as well. So they're also
Wow.
so you can have video Q&A with people.
It's nice. So are we live? I see we have some
We are.
viewers.
We are live.
Oh, we are live. Okay, nice.
We're also live on YouTube and Facebook.
Oh, great. Yeah.
Waiting for Vijetha. Maybe we'll just wait a few minutes. Now, 6:30. Generally, I think Vinay and everyone, Rahul as well, knows him very well. Bang on time. So
You can talk about how you began this Startup Sunday.
Thanks, Vinay. Yes, that's great. I think Vinay has gotten into questionnaire duties. Yeah, but happy to share. Wonderful. Thanks, guys, first of all, for coming, and to everybody who's watching us live. Thank you for taking out your time. Startup Sunday, very interestingly, a few months ago, I would say. This is probably a sixth episode, I guess. Just a thought. We started a LXS, which is called League of Extraordinary Startups. The idea there was to bring, extraordinary founders to basically, give them 1 hour of unplugged time, right? So they can just talk about their journey, take some questions from the audience, stuff like that. So we've done, I think, now 25 episodes. There comes Vijetha.
How are you guys?
Hey, Vijetha.
Good evening.
Hi, Vijetha.
Good evening. So we're all set?
Yep.
Okay, fantastic. So first is, let me just give a quick shout out. There are quite a few folks here. So good evening, everyone. Happy Diwali. And it's a festivity occasion for so many people. So thank you so much for everyone for joining in. So this is the Startup Sunday Informal Board room meeting, where what we do is the founders and Jagat, Rohit, Vinay are the founders. I'm not the founder, but so the entrepreneurs talk about a couple of challenges that they're facing. And of course, they will talk about themselves, their product, because that is very important to give a voice to entrepreneurs. And without further delay, let's kickstart. So let me start with Vinay first. Okay. So Vinay, a quick introduction about who you are, what is CrowdProduct, etc. So go for it. Keep it crisp and short, please.
Yeah. Hi guys. So I come from a media, events, and crowdsourcing background. Over the past 15 years, I've been involved with media platforms, involved with companies like Yahoo, been part of a lot of events in various capacities. And later, when I went abroad, I got involved in the crowdfunding space, essentially finding out how the crowds can be involved in enabling an idea move forward. Right. So when I came back here, I realized that more of offline engagements happen. So we wanted to find ways to engage audiences at offline events, and that's how we came up with the idea of with CrowdProduct, right? A product that engages the crowd. Do you want me to share that quick slide, Vijetha, that you had asked me to make? Let me just share it now. Very seamless, the Vidphone experience. Yeah. So this is essentially what we want to enable people to do at their events. We want them to get more from their events, and if that requires us, partnering with an enabling platform like Vidphone, or leveraging engagement tools, or streaming it across multiple distribution channels, having a master of ceremony to engage audiences, all of that we are able to do by bringing it all together. So we recently did a Indian wedding Sangeet event, where we had like dancers, performances, couple quizzes, trivia, all sorts of things, which was possible because we had that creative mindset on how to bring it together virtually. So that's a brief about what we do, what we can do for you. If you have any questions, feel free to write to me at vinay@crowdproduct.com.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Vinay. That was very crisp and beautiful. Much appreciated. Rohit, would you like to go next, please?
Yeah, sure. So I'm Rohit Mahajan. I'm a founder of Loofre.com, and I have 21 years of experience. I started my career with Z News. I was head marketing for Z News for approximately 6 odd years. Then I moved to launching another business channel, which is called as a UTV Bloomberg. Then I was part of the core team at TV Today Group, heading their radio business. So last 10 years was like crazy startup life, which I'll say. And we are now, I can say, the largest merchant aggregator for the banks. So what we do is whenever you have a card, you get discount on dining, wellness, online shopping, and everything. Most of the banks we are powering the business. So whatever the discount you see, most of the discount comes from our kitty. So we have a NPCI, which is Rupee and PayU, which manages the 800 banks. We manage their program, Mastercard, Visa, then ICICI, SDFC, is Kotak, 40 odd banks. We are managing it from last 10 years. The business is sorted in that. So in last 6 months have changed my life, I'll say. During a COVID thing, I thought, let me get into something which is called as something innovative, something which is, empowering people. So technology should empower people. And we are coming up with something which is called as a technology platform for street vendors. But
Okay.
they don't have a street, so it's something called as a Har Sabji Wale Ka Apna app. So own app for every street vendor. So you have farmers, which gets support from a government, but then the businessmans and everyone. But these street vendors, they don't have the basic bank accounts. So we are trying to figure it out, and this probably we are getting into new thing. Let's see how things will shape up, and that's probably. Do you want me to share a screen?
Yeah, yeah. Go ahead and do that,
I'm
please.
not want to take. I love actually speaking more rather than.
Yeah.
So we have 25,000 retail points in 100 odd cities.
Rohit, I think it's not visible. Can you just check? It's coming as a dark screen.
Oh,
Just recheck.
okay.
Hey,
Okay.
Sono, can you just figure out what's happening? Uh,
Let me check.
you,
Let me check.
yeah.
Probably need to just select that tab which says whole screen. You select the
Is
whole
it
screen.
fine?
No, it's not.
I think you just restart the screen share, if you
Yeah.
can.
So I think
You just-
I think I've spoken about it. Let's skip that part. I'm okay with that.
Okay.
So
Done. We can figure it out later. Don't worry. Huh?
yeah. That's what we are trying to do. And I think I personally feel technology should change the people's life rather than competing with it. It's collaborating and empowering people. That's probably our thought in last 6 months.
Interesting, Rohit. So, Jagat, would you like to introduce yourself as well, please?
Sure. My name is Jagat. I run a company called Vidphone. So, Vidphone, we are in the video communications space. Our goal really is to enable companies to have video business models, which is driven by, right from it's what we call the video funnel. So basically, how do you engage, attract, convert, and retain customers completely on live video? So that's really our goal. And one of the features is the webinar product that we have. And I do this every week. I'm always sharing my problems. So I keep telling Vijetha, let me first solve the ones I already said. Right? So, but happy to share a lot more, and I'd be more of a listener in this conversation. Happy to come in whenever, Vijetha, at your discretion.
Yeah, sure. So I've been also, when distracted, but always checking my phone for some of the messages that are coming in also. Okay, and so Jagat, Vinay, and Rohit. So some of the questions that the audience also wants to ask you is that as founders, I mean, we're talking about the challenges that you're facing, and since this is about coming together as a kind of informal board, advisory, etc. But in today's time, when you can't do too much of face to face, though there is quite a bit of opening that is happening, but and Rahul, for Rohit, for you, for example, you're talking about street vendors,
Yeah.
right? So there is always there are health risks involved. The weather is not so good, etc., etc. Okay, and then Vinay, you have totally the other way. You work with huge conferences. I know that you did some conferences outside India as well. Everything has to be remote. Everything has to be digital. So considering all this, how does one tackle it? I mean, you have very different kind of challenges in front of you. A lot of founders are facing this as well. So if you had to give a bullet point about challenges, potential solutions, how does it work out for you guys?
Do you want me to speak?
Yeah,
Yeah,
please. Is
Rohit.
this
So what we have realized in last 6 months, whatever we were doing in last 10 years, I'll talk about myself. It is not going to work at all. So we need to look into a new products, especially the technology. Technology should like the video technology. Earlier we used to do calls, we have used to do Zoom, and now things have totally different. We need new features, new product solutions. Webinar is a next big thing. And the technology, so we need to look into next 1 year. We have to see how especially we can do a problem solving things rather than and creating a products. Earlier it was more of a doing a business for us also, and we have seen a lot of startups also. Chal raha hai, we are doing things, but now we have to really get focused on doing things, because things are not going to be simple for next 1 year. It is going to be the good products, problem solving products are going to have a full life even without an investments. So that's my thought. And second is, we need to keep control on something is called as a working capital, and which can only be tackled through a technology again. So if you have less small offices, do video calls, do other things, but it has to be technology. Technology is gonna change our life.
Yeah. No, just to add to what you're saying, right? While we're using technology and all of that, I think it's also a mindset thing. How do you create can we pioneer latest initiatives from India? Can we do it from here? Can our people around in India start using our products? Can they trust us? They find it so much more easier to trust a brand that they've heard about 20 years ago, 30 years ago. How easier can it be made for them to trust somebody they know, somebody they've worked with, somebody's products who they've used? I think even somebody like Jagat, he has a lot of experience. Especially Indian customers. Can we make use of technologies that have been developed around here? Because I think on our technology metrics, we're all at the same level. Tomorrow, if you and I want to build a Facebook, we can actually. They have the audience, they have the user base. That's what they've done over the years.
Yeah.
So becoming early adopters of technology is something that we'll have to work on, don't you think?
Sure. Sorry. Go ahead, Rohit. You want to say something?
So that's the beauty. We should we as a founders, as a startup, we should start exploring more technologies and start recommending. So I think the recommendation business, what we saw in lot of developed economies, people support each other. That's the biggest thing for a marketing. What we have is beauty is 130 crore people, but again reaching out to 130 CR people is a huge cost. But if there is something called as influencer marketing, we are influencer, you are every one of us is an influencer. So like I'm the first time I'm using your technology, and I see lot of good thing. So especially on the webinar, we work with a lot of clients who do a lot of live events, live discussions. We are going to recommend it. A one liner on a LinkedIn, one liner on Facebook. Trust me, help each other. That is the only way out for all of us. And second, if we find anything, we want something to add on that technology, let's give the real feedback. Even if writing a random email to someone, oh, I have liked your product, I think this needs to be added. That's the only way forward for all of us, and especially for next 6-8 months, where we seriously want to face a financial crunch, all of us, because working that we have already lost 7-8 months on our finances. Revenues are less, and we are not so-called 100 million funded or whatever million. I don't understand those numbers. But if we have to be businessmen, recommend each other, help each other. That's what do you say?
Absolutely. Just want to put my points. I think wonderfully said by Rohit. Like technology is no more going to become like a ally of the business. Every business is going to be a technology business. That's how pretty much it is getting. I think now we are seeing it really happen, right? And what a wonderful initiative, reaching out to the street vendors and actually giving them an opportunity. I think that's fantastic, because even with Vidphone, I think I've shared these ideas with probably Vijetha and Vinay also sometime. But I've always thought, why can't the street vendors do direct e-commerce with video, right? Showing their cart, actual cart, right? And then my mom is actually shopping.
Yeah.
We've tried these, but of course there was internet challenges. I think soon we will see those things happen, right? Buy a flowers. You can look at the quality of the flowers on video and just order it home. You're giving them a big break. Today I hear that Reliance has also acquired Urban Ladder. So now the furniture market again. So I think, of course, yesterday also we were sharing on LXS, the trends, as Vijetha was asking, as a founder, where are we thinking? There is the K curve. Definitely there is a K-shaped recovery where, some sectors are really going down, but some sectors are really going to go up. So I think now is the time to, even if you are on the downtrend kind of sectors, how do we kind of switch gears into the, the upward sectors, right? I think that's my 2 cents on this. Thanks.
Do you think you spoke about the video part of it, right? I see that to my brothers in San Francisco, it says that during the COVID period, when they need to order food, groceries, so somebody would go about, show the video, do you want this, do you want that, and they order it on their behalf.
Yeah.
Right? The same thing. Do you think more of a media amplification helps? Because I think Rohit has a media background as well. Do the media folks also want to support and amplify startups, or is it more of based on the numbers, the eyeballs? You would know well, right? With so many years of media experience.
I'll tell you a very sad part of Indian startup system. So urban clap urban ladder. So people, you go to a media guys. The first question they ask you, how much money you have raised. Boss, why do I need money? It's traditional Indian Indian companies. How many media companies have they've actually raised money? No one. So have you ever seen Times of India raising money? No. Or Z raising money? No. So point is, the typical mindset is, yeah, how much money you have raised, even though you don't have you're not doing a business, you are making losses or whatever it is. So that's the difficult part here. If so, media guys are not going to help you, trust me, unless until you have x amount of funding on your CV. So let's not talk about that. But one thing what we can do, what we are doing right now, writing a one word after using a technology, anyone's technology, even a random new product, experiment new products, write it about on your Facebook, LinkedIn. We are influencers, trust me, we are influencers. Even if 20 people are going to like us, but 100 are going to see us. Oh, what is this new product? That is where, and we are actually, if you'll see, I'm your customer, you are my customer. So we are customers to each other. So the only way is to what Vijetha and you is doing, Jagat, is doing these sessions. So here we are probably explaining all about our technology, about maybe in a 2 minute. And tomorrow I'm going back and I'm going to check your product in detail. I'm going to write something about it. Okay? If I find something missing, I'll write personally to you. And it has to be random. So we have enough community space around in the startup. I'll tell you one interesting project we are gonna do with something called with Visa, which is called Vocal for Local offers. What we have seen, there are hundreds of websites available for a small guys. Okay, the only thing they don't have is a great tech or a great marketing or a great PR. What do you say? Media should cover them. So we are identifying around 1,000 odd, small websites from Northeast, from Karnataka, from Bengal, from Punjab. Rajasthan is a big market. So there we will help each other. We will recommend. We will talk about their products. But media is not gonna help you at all. Times on India is not gonna write on you. Economic Times not, unless until you are raising monies. And I think real business is not about raising monies. Real business is about doing a business.
No, that is fair. I mean, see, we don't want to get into a debate about what your story is. So here we just focus on look. Okay, it's all nice to say that vocal for local. It's all nice to say that startups should support each other, but then no one is told not to do it. But it's not happening, right? The blunt factor is it's not happening. Okay, whatever we are trying to do here, 3 founders coming together is good, but there are millions of entrepreneurs and founders, and I mean, as per the data, there are some 17,000 startups listed who are trying to innovate and trying to grow. So what are you guys going to do about it, right? I mean, that's the fundamental question that I really want to ask. Like, for example, Jagat, we have done 25 episodes of League of Extraordinary Startups. This is probably the 6th episode of Startup Sunday. Head Start. Now, let's give a shout out to other people who are trying to do a lot of good work. Head Start does a lot of work, 50 chapters all over the country. Startup Saturdays they've been doing. NASCOM does. Sky has got so many chapters doing it, but it's just not enough, right? What is the structure? how are we going to help each other? So I'll ask you bluntly, how many of you guys have shared about this episode on your timeline? How many people have you invited? How many people have you brought into the discussions and to the chat? Are you tagging people? Are you sending it out on your WhatsApp? If you're not doing it, then I'm sorry, nothing is going to happen, right? I mean, open, blunt. So what do you have to say for that?
Wonderfully said. I think that's a great challenge. We are seeing that. Obviously, Vijetha and I, we enjoy what we do. So I think that's why we do it. Yes, it would be a lot more fun if there was a lot more participation.
Yeah.
It becomes a lot more easier and it becomes less of a job. Okay? But I think it takes time. Initially, as you know, there was a line that says that if you want to put something in orbit, a rocket, almost 80% of the fuel is consumed before it, hits escape valve. And I think that's like right here. And then 80% fuel is over, and that much energy to launch something, I think, takes a lot of effort because it's really inertia. That's I think what we need people like you, Vijetha, and probably myself and other guys to keep pushing no matter what. I think there will be a critical point where things will break and you will see it explode. The risk is that if things like this explode, where already I would say starting up has become a fad almost. Every second person is starting up. So I think it's gotten diluted a little bit, but it shouldn't. I mean, I think it's good as of now. To be very honest, yes, the stage we are at, I think we're doing reasonably well. I think in the next year, really we'll see the things explode. So I'm very optimistic about how things are, and especially with guys like you. No flattery at all, but you see what we do. I mean, what Vijetha also does day in and day out. I think that's a grind, and I think that's what makes ecosystems work. Right? It's not just about reading news, hacker news or TechCrunch. It's really about, building out day in and day out for the ecosystem. I think I'm optimistic.
In fact, today's morning there was a Thai young entrepreneur session, and one takeaway was the instructor spoke about how he persevered. You did 25 episodes, right? I think it takes consistency and persevering for it to take off. You never know. So that consistency, I think, really good that all the 25 episodes, 6 episodes, and I think if you have a supporting structure, it helps.
See, there are challenges, okay, and at no point of time should we ever see that there are no challenges. But how do we come together? And this is like you see, other ecosystems have got innovation clusters. They have got academia that works very closely with the VCs, etc. So it's a lot of things are happening. Okay, I mean, there are some wonderful initiatives taken by people from Axel Partners and from Bloom Ventures. They're doing so much of work, sharing. They're opening up resources for founders. Okay, templates, term sheets, how to do marketing, how to like whatever. They're doing so much for their own communities, etc. Right, but my challenge still remains that, for example, whatever you're talking, what are you like, Rohit, you're saying that, you want to work with, founders from all over, you're trying to build something, but none of us know about it, right? Vinay doesn't know about it. I don't know about it. There are so many other wonderful communities, like, you have eChai. So many things are there. Okay. So if you have to break it down, what we have discussed before also, right? You have two specific asks or two specific problems that you want help with rather than going, too generic. Okay. So in what would be, that's what I would really like you all to focus on. So you're saying, okay, I want to build my own PR. I want to build my own thing. I want to, create an evangelism of my brand. But what are the two specific issues that you're facing, that we'd like to talk about? And that's where the crunch is. Right? You can't talk about 20. You talk about 2. Like, what are the 2 specific stuff that you want help with? Whoever wants to go next?
I put down mine, so I'll take the lead. I know you guys are guests, but let me get started, and then maybe Rohit and Vinay also can kind of share. So I have two very specific things, and obviously we've been working on these 2 things for a while now. One is to do with the market, which I would say more is in terms of the companies, in terms of the ecosystem. Obviously, we need, like Rohit was saying, we are not a company that always goes out and says we are a made in India product, use us. We don't really use that emotional note. We prefer to be looked at as a product, whether it's from Valley or India, doesn't matter. But of course, the challenge is how do we build a strong ecosystem? Because if you want to build a good platform kind of product, you need an ecosystem like what we said. It's not only about using free products. It's about actually contributing founder level, right? Giving some suggestions, improving the product without having too much to kind of have some vested interest, right? It's okay to help somebody without taking equity, right? Or something like that. So that's one. How do we build that culture is always a challenge. Second is, obviously, my specific, which is video communications. Obviously, we're a hyper competitive market. You have, top guys building this stuff. And for me, product differentiation is always a challenge. And how do we build new features? Like we launched vMail, the first video mail solution probably in the world. I was completely download browser-based. Certain, but always it's a challenge. I always look at how do we kind of, the gap between our product and our competition. These are my two, questions. Happy any suggestions and help? Yeah.
I'll tell you. So I personally believe in something which is called as don't compete, always collaborate. Never get into competition, and that's not the way probably things actually work. So always try to collaborate. About the ecosystem, I think there is a requirement of something like a mid-level guys where he knows Vinay does this guy does this. And so there could be a collaboration between these people. So that is the only way to introduce, in a simple word, in the introduction. Somebody has to be an introduction, guys. Okay, you can collaborate in future. Instead of talking about, we can't tell each and everyone in the world about our products. But there is a requirement. Probably someone can come and say, okay, you are doing something which can be useful, and it happens in across industries. There are networking guys, there are matchmaking guys, but that's the only way. There is a new business model which is important for everyone. So one, don't never get into competition, even at what it's always collaboration. So anywhere in the world, if you see anything which can be useful to you, please go ahead and collaborate.
So, but then Rohit, I'll challenge you this, right? Jagat competes against the biggest folks. Okay. So then they're not going to collaborate. They're not going to.
So I'll tell you, basic economic rule is there is always a market for everyone. Even somebody who owns 190% of the market share, there is always 10%. And 10%, and especially the competition, a bigger guys will create a market for you. Trust me. They are doing all their hard work, and you can sell your product. But then somebody will say those guys are brands and you are not brand. That's okay. So you'll always have your own market, maybe smaller, but then it comes onto the product. If your product is good, you have 100 odd customers, they will recommend you to 200, and the recommendation is very important. Unless if you are not getting recommendation of your product, then it will be that's the best marketing tool, I think, in the world.
I agree, because a lot of our customers come from people who are viewers of our webinars and stuff. See, I think just to add on to that, obviously I don't build the business to compete. We've always believed in, and we started this journey a lot earlier. But what happened over 6 months is that I've been in kind of a firing line because video conferencing suddenly exploded. So it's not something that we choose. So one of the things that I always agree is that you as a company, you don't look to compete. It's the customer who, in the mind, there is competition. And that's important, right? Today, the moment you see this, you think Zoom, Skype, I don't know, XYZ. Right? Sometimes that happens from the customer's point of view. But yeah, I think what you said is absolutely right. Look to collaborate, look to, coexist.
But Jagat, yeah, I'll tell you what, because sometimes what happens is every other day, right? I see there is something somewhere happening around the world. And I get a ping every time, this is happening, that's happening and all. So what I've done is, if it's good, and if I can use it and maybe integrate it into what I'm doing, then it makes sense. And I think competition, when we reach the level of, say, Amazon or Flipkart, then I'm going to think about competition. Then it's going to be total cutthroat competition. In fact, from my MBA days, one slide I would always have, especially when they ask you to put competition, I'll put that one quote that not through competition, but through collaboration are your best goals achieved, sort of a thing. Yeah. Because I don't think it is, in fact, I don't even want to talk about any competition because I don't even know, to be honest, who are my competition. There are 100 people developing a lot of things. So I realized that at the end of the day, right, whosoever product I can integrate and work with them, I would be more than happy to work. What has happened was recently at this Africa Brand Summit, there was one of these startups from the IMI group who do these virtual booths. he said, why to use our product? Then I spoke to him 4-5 calls, and then we started using it. Because back then we didn't have it. So if we find it makes sense for what we are doing, then we would always work. Later, when we then it makes it. That's one challenge, right? The competition, collaboration part of it. The other challenge I thought I would thought is also how do we help people make decisions faster? What is the enabling infrastructure environment to help them make decisions faster? Can ecosystem can we can we present ourselves to more customers and help them tell us yes, no, or we don't want to work with you at all? Help them make a decision faster.
Yeah. No, I think absolutely. I think I agree.
Yep.
Sure.
So one thing. Sorry.
I used to use the phrase, 10, 15 years ago. Complete, don't. So the thesis is good, but when the customer tells you, Jagat, but how you compare to him? How you compare? That's when. But it happens. Anyway.
So interesting learning from this conversation I have right now. So probably Vijetha can help us on that. So whatever products we have, even our friends who got a nice products, we can always have a digital showcasing of a product, where we can actually, call our friends and the other startups, come and try my product for 2 months. I'm ready to give you a discount or a free to another startup for a time being, but then recommend my product. If you like my product, if you're using my product, please recommend. I think that could be an interesting idea if we can do.
That's fine. This is but then let me ask you, right? Jagat and Vinay, have you guys not tried that? Have you not given your product away for free and for testing and everything?
Of course.
And what happened after that? Honestly, tell honestly, what happened after that?
You go ahead first.
Yeah. So I think there's two things: recommend or feedback. If you like it, recommend, because I'm sure Jagat has got a lot of customers from recommendations. So have we. Or give feedback. If you say something is not good, right? Earlier we used to get a lot of feedback from this group called Zone Startups every other week. This will be good, that will be good. In fact, the entire product is built on feedback. Every little aspect of it based on crowdsourced feedback.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting. And Rohit and Jagat, anything? Jagat, you have also tried this, I'm sure, right? You have been at this for some time.
Yeah.
You've given it to people, and then sometimes it works, sometimes it didn't work also. What is your take on this?
Yeah, I think in the beginning stages, I think products are built. I mean, this is probably my 35th or 40th product in 10, 11 years. And one of the things I've learned is most products you will start typically with some intuition, and then you will start building it, and then there is then the data aspect that comes in, right? If you just go with data at the beginning, I think everyone has access to data. So you as a inventor or a founder, I don't think you actually are able to innovate. Initially, that will come through your own intuition. Then it's purely, as Vinay said, our product also is built with every single feedback of the customers. But again, it goes through the funnel. I mean, saying that how many of them are actually asking this, and because ours is SaaS. Someone may have a very specific. Someone in fintech may say, "Video KYC, Jagat, I want this," and someone in groceries may say, "I want an ordering app." But does it apply to all our users? Then is when we actually go and build it, and we build features pretty fast. That's one of the things that we have learned, and that feedback release cycles we are pretty good at, and that's something we have perfected over 10 years. Today, someone tells us something, generally within a few days they will see the change, and that works. Only way to really work, I think. Yeah,
that's the way forward. I think that's a wonderful way of thinking.
Yeah. And also, when you say product differentiation, okay, in a very, of course, we do understand that this is a very brutally competitive market. But how do you do that? So supposing that you have some product, or you feel that these are some of the things that are different from XYZ. So how do you communicate it to the world? Right? It's not just that I know it, and then and how does the rest of the world know? How does a customer know? So that's something that both Jagat, you have to do it.
Huge challenge. I think.
So how do you do it? What is the way forward?
The companies, for example, video conferencing, when we were doing it, like I would say last year, it wasn't as big as it is today. Video conferencing was still a nice to have kind of system. And suddenly over 6 months, things have really, exploded. And so that's when I think really the competition comes in. Now it's feature to feature. Do you have breakout rooms? Do you have virtual backgrounds? And that's when it becomes a feature play. But the way I see it now, of course, we have launched Vmail. Look, what we have arrived at today, Vijetha and others, is that today clearly there is video conferencing fatigue. And we tell ourselves, are you tired of video conferencing? Yes, because we've been building this for so long. Now people are tired of conferencing. And we say, okay, now what's the next thing, right? Because if people are not comfortable, they're getting exhausted after a week of work, and productivity is still at 30-40%, something's wrong. So what we did is we launched Vmail. Vmail is what we call asynchronous video meetings. It gives you the benefit of email along with the benefit of video. In email, you don't need, it's not a two-way conversation, so it does not require me to be involved like a phone call or a video. I get an email, when I'm free, I could respond to it. It gives me that flexibility of time. We've taken that and put video into that. So it's like sending video notes. Say, hi Vijetha, how are things, blah, blah, and I send you a note. And you can then respond to it in full video. If you have you can screen share, you can share your idea with me. But it doesn't influence, it's based on my time. So I think we have taken a mid path there. I don't see any company today that's building what we're calling Vmail. And this is going to be very powerful. I think email changed business. Just think how much Vmail will change business.
Yes.
That's how we are looking at going forward. Second thing is, yes, that's one point, purely in terms of product and looking at how to change it. But when I look at the webinars and video conferencing play itself, they're quite broken, right? People may use one thing for media, for conferencing, one for webinars. It's all over the place. Appointment scheduling, they'll use Calendly, all kinds of stuff. There is huge room for having, and if you look at our platform today, it is very specific for driving leads through webinars and converting them through video sales. This is our product. And that's very important. We focus not just for help you communicate, but to help you grow. Do you get new leads? Do you get new customers through Vidphone? So that's how we have differentiated over the past.
So business, if the customer is using your product and they're helping and it's getting them to grow, then they will trust you and they'll stick with you.
If they want this, collaboration and stuff, they can use
of course. So there's a question that is coming from Ravi. Like, how do you comprehend your thought process of your end product being considerably different from your initial intuition, and how frequent is that in startups? So it's there on the chat window as well. So maybe Vinay, Rohit, you can also take a very quick, very crisp bullet point, where I would like all three of you to answer on that. You thought of something, you created something, no traction, you had to change it. Competition did something else, customers wanted something else. So how do you do these iterations and changes?
So
we handle it.
There is a word called pivot. I always love that word. So when you actually have your idea in your mind, by the time you go into the development, after your initial research and discussion, somebody must have come up with that thought. Trust me. So one is keep changing yourself. So don't even look in a technology. Nothing is permanent. You need to keep changing every day. Start thinking from a take your product to your driver, to your help guys. Ask him to use it. If the most stupid, you need to resolve a solution, give a product which is for the most stupid guy in the world. So try to create features which can help, and that's the only way. Technology is something which you can't say ki maine bana diya, I have made that product. No. So you need to keep changing. Maybe whatever your initial thought about the product, and then eventually the product is going to be totally different, a totally different audience. So if you are able to solve so you say, I have created a product for 35 plus, and suddenly you'll see your product is getting used by 20 plus. So change it. So they might liking your product. So you need to keep changing. Every day is a new thought process. That's the way I think I am doing it. So every day is a new day for me.
Okay. Yeah. No, at the end of the day, we don't own our process, our product. The customers are the ones who are going to pay, and they own it. So we are just like enablers. We listen to them. We have certain intuition and data nodes, something because of our experience and understanding of the domain. But at the end of it, it's your customer first. And that's one thing I learned in my first job, ICICI Bank. They had this whole customer first 2 months orientation on that.
So I'll tell you an interesting example. So 2 years back, everybody was talking about app, and all. Everybody's saying make an app and everything. And last 8 months, we have realized making a website for our solution guys for a bank is much easier. We're getting mobile website, not even normal website, it's just a mobile which can be open on a is giving much more response. So what you will say, a website was an old concept. So now suddenly chatbots is the next interesting thing in last 8 months. Video is next thing. Everybody's talking about video conferencing. So there was a now because Jagat, I want to ask you, why everybody's talking about fatigue, video fatigue. Do you think there is something called as a video fatigue? It is a new. I think it's a new thing. So we have to learn. We are just learning a new media. That's it. What do you say?
Yeah, I find no video fatigue. Netflix is still wonderful.
Absolutely. Absolutely. There is a video fatigue. Trust me.
There's always been fatigue with the boss, and it's come out of video. That's all.
Trust me. I used to come to Chennai, for one meeting. Okay, starting my day at 4 a.m. in the morning, getting into airport, meeting done, coming back late night in that Delhi back, and then 2 hours of traffic in Delhi. By the time I reach, hey, boss, was the fatigue. This is not the fatigue.
Yeah.
So we have so much of time, and moreover that we are sitting at home, we need a human interaction. That will only come through video. Otherwise, on a phone. Otherwise, it's like talking to ourselves. It's like talking a mirror talking. What a RJ does it. So we want. I think there is no word called video fatigue. It is gonna be a new world, new media. That's it. Everything comes with the pros and cons.
Yeah.
I think great question. I think Ravi, I'd like to answer that because when we started building this video stuff, I started in early 2016, and we built it 2 months before Google Duo. So we were actually a video chat app, exactly like Duo. And then of course Duo came, and then a few months later WhatsApp launched video chat, and that's when we started thinking that hey, the consumer market's going to get really mature, and definitely business there would be. So that's when we moved. And then we built the browser-based, what you see, browser-based video chat, video conferencing. And then you had Google Meet who followed us and built Meet also. And now again, we are moving more. So I think that always happens, right? So initial intuition is intuition. It may be your first wireframe and mock-up, and it might be working. But from there, it's just a kind of rat race. I mean, it's like a dog run, right? You're just running like crazy.
So I think how do you stay 2 steps ahead of the curve, Jagat? How do you always stay ahead of all these new things that keep coming up? And
I take that very humbly. We try our best. I was building social commerce in 2010. I was doing hybrid apps in 2012, 13, and 2016 video chat. Today something else. So I would say yes that we do build things that are right at that cusp. But I think that's because of our we as a team, we work very, very well together. And I think I take some bets on some technologies, and I take them 100%. Like video in 2016, there was no 4G in India. 3G video is really bad, but I felt the vectors were there was no other way, right? Video had to happen. So and I stick with them. I take 4 years and still we're building. So I think that's how we take it. We take a lot of risk, and we stick to it, whether right or wrong. So.
That's interesting. No? And I think we have a comment coming in from Shivi also, where she's saying that you need to go towards the product needs to evolve with customer needs, right? Because it's all good to love your own product, but if there's no one paying you for it, if there is no one willing to use it, then we are in deep trouble. And we have had too many. They call it a startup graveyard. We should not let that happen. Not in India, because see, in India, when you go down very badly, right? I mean, its family gets affected. Your societal status also becomes a bit of a challenge, correct? And this is something that we have to accept, right? It's a problem in India, whether we like it or we don't like it. It's how it is. Okay. So now, Vinay, were you able to create your slide of 2 challenges? Because I think Rohit, you are not able to show your slide, right? Is it working for you now? You want to just test it again? You don't want to miss it. Just try one more time.
There will be a window there. Just select the whole window, and I think you should be able to.
Just go to screen share, Vinay. I'm sorry. Try it again.
Okay. Let me check if
Because
I
I'm
can
getting
do
the
it.
yeah. Just try. And Vinay, in the meantime,
Yeah.
okay.
So
Are you able to see?
How are you? Yeah, were you able to check it out? Also, let Vinay know. It's yeah. Okay, great.
great.
Yeah, got it. Just go full screen, Rohit. Huh?
Just click on it.
Okay.
Yeah, viewers can just click on it. We're good.
Yeah, got it.
Perfect.
Perfect.
Right. So the two challenges I think it is going to be as first is going to be a difficult task for is going to be a working capital, especially people who are into service industry. We are not a manufacturing, so the capital is going to be really expensive for us. And second, what I have spoken, we need to whatever we are doing last year, it is not going to work. We have to create a new product. So my mantra is gonna be we should prepare for the worst and hope for the best. That is going to be my mantra, personal mantra for this. So create new products, pivot, and that's the way forward. Working capital is going to be really tough. I'm telling you, I have spoken to a lot of my friends, especially Vinay, you are in events, so you need a lot of capital. As soon as, things, and I'm not going to see any new, a sudden business rise in next 1 quarter. So maybe 2 quarters. So that will take us for a 1 year of something, except Jagat, video conferencing is growing, except all the sector is right now.
Yeah, no,
So
that's
it's
fine,
gonna be
Rohit.
on stress.
Yeah, of
So
course.
keep
Working capital is tough for everyone. No questions on that. But in the question that I mean, I don't want an answer from this. But why should anyone give you working capital? Why should they take risk on you? Why should they back you up? I think that's the question that really has to be dwelt upon,
so so
and they have to trust you. How do you build that trust? I think Vinay also talked about that.
see, Vijetha, that is my problem. I'm talking to a lot of guys because I'm a very conservative business guy, which doesn't want to dilute my equities and okay. So, but over the period, I've seen people are not seeing a business strength. So people are the herd mentality is very. Oh, this thing is working, that thing is working. So one, you need to look into the see, especially for a service guys like us. There's a huge challenge. No bank
Hmm.
is gonna give us the monies on the basis of our balance sheets for
Yeah,
this year's balance sheets.
yeah,
Okay?
that's true. That's
And
true.
the second thing, they will only give us personal loans, okay, which is a very expensive.
Yeah, agreed. I understood, right? So
So
that we get that. So Jagat, you have raised funds from few people. Have you taken any of you guys have taken a bank loan, or have you taken any grants? Have you done anything of that sort, Vinay or Jagat?
Vinay first.
No, I have. I mean, our customers are our best funders. So that's something that I always have in mind.
hmm,
But yeah, we come from a banking background, no? My folks, all of them. So they have a lot of creative models, but their biggest challenge is how do they have, I mean, many of them have challenges in figuring, it's a new asset class for them.
Hmm.
So not much money has been given to startups as a new asset class, and there's always this wait and watch. But so I think Jagat has raised funding, right? He has some inputs on that.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, we raised funding after a business for 9 years, right? So I did that for 9 years.
wow.
So I didn't take any bank loan. Yes, initially there was some capital that for my initial social commerce product that was probably too early. 2010-11 was not the best time to build social commerce. But we made some money from our services deals after that. So we had large customers, and I built up a bit of a war chest before I
Mhm.
got to conferencing. And luckily, last year again we raised some money from some angel investors to keep
Wow.
going for some more time. So that was good. So I think, but yeah, now onwards, I think we keep all options open, right? So I think I'm not somebody who's closed-minded about whether a debt may work well or whether equity dilution depends on the valuation or customer money. I always like to have enough options on the table. Sorry, there's a lot of fireworks in my place. Apologies.
No worries.
So, I always like to keep options open. I wouldn't say one is the best route. Sometimes debt also may work well. Yes, as you said, the personal loans are quite high. The rates are, quite high. But generally now they're doing 10, 11%. Actually, today it may actually make sense looking at the rate of interest. 10, 11%, bank loan may be good for the
Mhm.
startup today. A very, very unique scenario now, but it
Mhm.
will be good. But yes, as I said, Customer number one is the most important. I built my war chest purely with large deals with enterprises. We managed to save up and build. But secondly, yes, always have good investors on your table. I think it helps.
Correct.
Have any of you guys tried any of these, states and central policies are there for grants, etc., right? And if you show that you are doing social impact, or if you're going to create a lot of employment, I mean, that's one more thing that you should not ignore, because, I mean, of course, Karnataka has an Elevate program, but it's not just about Karnataka. Other states also have something. So, right, you should look at that, okay?
Definitely.
But, there's no choice, because see, banks, I mean, Jagat, of course, did mention that 10-11% is a different scenario. But how do you, I mean, can you convince some customers to pay you some initial money? So maybe, I mean, just think about that, because it's easy for us to sit here and give you gyan, because you're the one who has to go out there and, fight it out. But still.
Just on that way, I just want to make one note, and then, Vinay and Rohit can take on most of the time available. See, this guy called Nick Kozmin, I think, salesprocess.io. I don't know how many of you guys follow him. Very good way of putting it together, right? So he says it is, of course, you look at Eric Rice and the way you don't need to build the product to sell and stuff like that. That's fine. But he actually says how you can get this working model without building out and getting, customer money, because that's when you actually start building the product, right? So that's very interesting. Indians should take that very seriously. It's not just something academic to read, but to try and implement that, to try and get some cash out of a customer without having the full product. Of course, in conferencing, it's difficult. But if you have like a CRUD, normal kind of input-output kind of app, definitely you could show them, visualize the result. Here you are now, and here is where you will be. And these are what will make you, go there. And then get some cash from them. And I think that today may be possible. We have to look at it, very seriously.
This other thing of how do you price your product, right? That's one question that a lot of us, I think, keep getting. So what is the most optimal price? Should it be different for different people, different for different regions? All of that is also something that startups will have to explore.
Yeah. So when you get money paid in dollars, you're very happy, isn't it? It's always that. So I think, and Jagat, this is something for everyone, okay? That you all are sitting where you're sitting, okay? But think about global place, okay? You must get people. I mean, yes, I don't know. For you, Rohit, you're looking at the smallest, the hawkers, street vendors, etc. Okay, but then maybe this is a solution that can be also implemented in Bangladesh. It can be implemented in Africa. It can be implemented in Sri Lanka, because these are the places where there's a lot of these street vendors. Okay, so please think about that, because many investors say that if you can show that you're capable of multiple geographies, multiple zones, that's when they want to back you up. So whether it's Jagat or Vinay or Rohit, think about that also. And yes, Vinay, if your thing is about pricing discovery, look, if you can convince people, and I think Shivi's just put a comment here saying that innovation is required in pricing models as well. So how do you convince? How do we do this? I mean, how do you where are the blockages, sales blockages that Jagat that we talk about? So maybe you all guys can dwell upon that as well.
See, I would take pricing, because it's wonderful. Now all of video conferencing is practically free. And it's strange. We built our business model 9 months, 10 months ago with certain assumptions. 500 rupees per user per month, this would be. And suddenly you have this pandemic and you have Google, Zoom, and everybody, dumping pure free product. It's a very tough space for us, because, we cannot go and say, hey, pay us X amount for conferencing, because people will be like, who the hell are you? And Google and Zoom are free. But that's when we took the innovation path, right? Now, if you're just going to connect people, my goal is to actually drive revenue for you. And if I can give you 10x revenue, you need to give me X or 2x worth of pricing. Right? That's my pricing model. So I think there are two ways. I think these are theory, that market competitive pricing and value-based pricing, stuff like that. But there is absolutely no real magical answer to that. I think the same product designed slightly, in an average way will fetch you a lesser price. Something that's designed purely a UI, factor can increase your revenue multiple by 5x, and you can target a premium market. So I think it's really about your mission. In my view, right, it's really about what your real kind of outcome you want it to be. If you price it high, you're a premium product, no matter what product or what you're doing. If you price it high, the market, you're premium, you are catering to certain 10%. And if you price it low, you're catering 90%. This is not. So I think whether with events you want to impact events at scale, or whether you want to impact events niche, disrupt and some events like that. Maybe that would be a good way to think of it.
Yeah, very pertinent. I think top 10% or the scale, because people have seen us as productized service. They see the other elements as well, and yeah.
Good, very nice. I want to just share one more input that is coming from the audience and from my WhatsApp as well of people who are joining. See, as founders, correct? You guys also have to wear a sales hat, and many times you'll be getting a lot of pushback from your customers. No, and it hurts sometimes. It's emotionally a little bit tough also. But how do you handle that? How do you make yourself receptive to change? Because if it's positive, you must change and make the iterations. But at the same time, you don't get into this trap that you're only running after a small change that a customer wants, but that is not leading to sales. It is just that they're making you put off the decision just like that. So how do you handle, and from experiences, what is it that you have learned?
So I'll tell you my experience. On a typically our old business, 10-year-old business, not talking about a new product. So it's a typical B2B product. So one thing on a pricing or anything, you need to hear what client wants. Even though you are selling the same product, you need to give a hearing. The more hearing you will give, the better price you can charge. Give them some solution. You need to give them an extra solution. That is the premium part of whatever you do. So you need to hear what exactly they need. Even you actually fit into their product. First hear them कि उनको क्या चाहिए. Never sell your product. Never ever sell your product. So if you'll start selling your product, it means you are pushing them to buy. Tell them experience, hear them, give them an experience. Like, that's the only, if they really like your product, they will pay you for anything. And typically whenever I see in a B2B, so they are very clear. Client needs certain thing, and they have their budgets and everything. Deliver it, and you start delivering a certain part of a product, then rest will come, and you'll actually end up charging more uh, what you ever thought of. So in a B2B, hearing a client, give 20 hearings, whatever, then give your solution. Never sell your product. Never in a B2B. Let them come back, and you have your credentials with you. That's enough for probably that I actually worked with us over the years. Not a single client in last 10 years have gone out from our kitty. So they are there. Even there is a change in leadership, nothing. So they are recommending us everywhere.
Okay, good. So you're talking about recommendations, you're talking about being a very good soundboard, listening board, and also you got to have a huge funnel, right? It's not enough to just hope and pray that few customers only will help you, because that's another danger zone, isn't it? Because too many times I've been hearing this story that you thought one or two customers will take care of you, and they're going to stick with you forever, and then they had some problems which you might not have foreseen. And then we have to be careful about that, right? I think Vinay,
Right.
you will also have faced that situation that after lots of months, suddenly something happened. The decision maker or influencer changed. So then what do you do then, right? So that's also tough.
Yeah.
That's a part.
I think people make yeah. No, I think people make a lot of difference. A lot of these people who are influencers, who are well connected, they can recommend, they can introduce you to people, especially those in their 50s, 60s who have actually seen at various levels of companies. When they recommend, things close faster. That's one of the learnings. And also never hesitate to ask people for help. Right now, Shivi just told me that she has some creative ideas around pricing. So I told her, let's discuss tomorrow. Happy to hear about how creatively we could price. So I mean, this whole webinar, right? Great takeaway, right? People in the audience are able to help us and take things forward.
Yeah, she's a nice person. She of course, AB and Bev has been doing a lot of work, and she's also moving on to start her own. Be part of her own startup. So that's going to be a very interesting journey as well. Yes, pricing, discovery, 10 years, maintaining clients. That's important. But remember also that Rohit, a startup is defined as someone who's been around for just a few years, and they got to start from scratch. See, I have a fundamental challenge when you guys say that that referrals help, referrals help. But what if you don't get referrals? What if no one can, you're absolutely zero in terms of referrals? Then what do you do? You can't rely on referrals, right, guys? That can't be. I mean, you have to build your own pipeline. You have to be able to. I mean, what if you're someone like Jagat, where he needs 1,000 clients? Okay, he needs 1,000 clients, not paying too much of money to be profitable. he can't wait for 1,000 referrals.
No,
Okay?
but
That's my danger zone. Huh?
no. That see, if you are you're not able to convince, I'll tell you, if your product is not uh, able to convince your first round of friends and the colleagues, so that means there is a problem with it. So referral, like Vijetha, if you like the product, you can always talk about a product, a very independent view. So those referrals actually matters, especially getting, and even it's a B2B or a B2C product. So initial, if and first thing is that's the best feedback you can actually get it from your friends. No, otherwise the marketing is very expensive unless and until you have a deep pockets to do any campaign or on LinkedIn or a Facebook or anywhere. But I think if that has to that you need to do it anyways. You need to build up that referral part initially. That's the best thing to do.
So, Rohit, I would love to understand from you later on that if you
Sure.
have to get 10,000 street vendors to refer each other to you,
I'll,
how does it work? How will that
I'll
work?
definitely I'll tell you. That's the only way to create a referral, because these guys are friends. These guys are friends to each industry. If I'm talking about a banking industry, I'm dealing, all of them are friends. All the top guys. If you are able to convince five people about talking about you, rest will follow.
Okay, interesting. All right, so we have Shivi here. Hi, Shivi, how are you? Good evening. Happy Diwali, boss. First,
Thanks a lot, and happy Diwali to all of you.
I
Yeah, so actually, I've been listening and I've been working, I think, with Vinay along and Jagat also a lot of times, and like a lot of things they were asking about referrals. And I think what I think of referral is a fancy word for cheap marketing. Okay, it's a free marketing, not even cheap. And referral, but it's not free actually. Why say cheap is also a reason. Referral comes with quality, like Jagat was mentioning earlier, like they need to change their products. And you also need to be stringent with a few of things when it comes to a product, because I think we had a lot of discussions always comes to him when I have some opportunity, because I know him, his product is good, and obviously they're doing a lot for the service. Similarly with when I talk to him about few opportunities, and obviously I have been a referral for few of those people as well in the market. But what I wanted to say is, instead of looking at referral, there can be a lot of marketing opportunities which are lying around in the market. And like we were talking about the funds, we were talking also about how to change the pricing models. And I was telling, I was discussing few things, because the platforms Vidphone and CrowdProduct, and obviously with COVID, I think it has been a positive for these kind of products. And obviously these all things will cause a boredom in users. It happens with everything. People were once using a Mintra a lot, then the Mintra decided to go on app, then they stopped using it, then they again came on website. So basically at the end, user is the boss. What extra you can keep giving the users, because change is inevitable, I think. Which is there, how you can make your products, if there are products, how can you make them interesting for your customers? Again, all these things come from design thinking, right? At the end, you have to serve the customers. If customers are asking for it, any company would have to give it. So now a lot of people are moving from Zoom to other products, right? Why? Because again, consumer are bored of Zoom, and you still have to pay, like enterprise pay a lot of amount for getting these things. Nobody wants to use Google Meet. It's very unprofessional, it's very tough to use. So the customer demands, and when customer will demand, you have to provide it. And it applies for all corporates, all startups, and everybody. So this is what I wanted to say. And again, always there to help. Let me know if we can always discuss on this pricing models and everything. This is where I find myself good with my experience. Always happy to discuss on these things.
thank you so much, Shivi. And also,
Thanks.
the fundamental question here is, what is a customer? A customer is someone who pays money, so they can keep asking all kinds of changes, UI,
No,
UX.
no, no. Customer is not who pays money. That is clients. Consumer who is actually using it.
correct, correct.
We had a debate though, one of these Thai eduthon events, no? They did a real-time poll. and people from the game accelerator, no? Madan Padaki, they said, so half of them said the one who value is given, and they did a poll, quick poll, the one who value is given. Many of them said the decision maker, but I think the organizers or the main folks from, they said the one who pays the money. So it's a good debating topic.
Yeah.
Who's the customer? We'll have to define.
Yes. See,
Actually, different differ from state to state. Basically in the products like online products, I think it's the end user. Because if you are doing any person, let's say I am a corporate, I have to do a particular event. I have to choose a platform. Let's say people are very comfortable with Zoom. I have to do it on Zoom. I don't have any other option. Though, if people are just bored with Zoom and they want some lighting and some quizzes, I have to go to another platform which kinds of integrated. So it's basically I have to pay the money, though it's not my choice. It's basically who is kind of attending those things.
Correct.
So yeah.
See,
It depends from option to option.
Understood. Because see, we have very diverse people here, right? So we have Vinay who does something different, Rohit does something different, Jagat does something different. So see, I come from the hotel industry also, right? That's also, and they say, Aditya Deva Bobo, guest is God. We should never call anyone as customer or client. It is guest, right?
Yep.
And we'll go out of our way. And Taj, that warmth that was there was always about guest, take care of the guest, whatever. But then one has to be careful, right? Because I'm seeing too much of things to TV. I mean, hundreds of startups who apply to work with AB and Bev, but you can't take them all. Correct? You can only take maybe 3, 5 or 6 or 7 startups. And I mean, so I don't know, man. It's not an easy answer. There are a lot of challenges. Corporates behave differently.
Yeah, there are a lot of. There's no straight answer to anything.
Yeah, but I'm agreeing very totally with Shivi on a couple of pointers, right? What she said about the user experience, the design. So unless you really focus on that, the customer journey, the user experience, then it's a bigger of a problem. So, I think what Shivi is saying about the user experience, we got to be really focused on that. Okay, so thanks, Shivi. I think she went offline, but thank you so much for joining us. Guys, it's 7:37. I didn't realize that it's 1 hour. And, I have to, see, as a host, I have to keep checking my phone. There are WhatsApp messages coming in, ask this question, ask that question. So, I think, so guys, the feedback, okay, from the messages that are coming in also, some of the senior folks also, they're saying that, look, one is, for you, Rohit, all the best. I think you have an existing businesses, you're looking to grow this, you're trying to do something for the street vendors, and they have gone through a lot of tough times with this lockdown, guys. Very different from the video and whatever else that Jagat or Vinay is doing. But if you can do something great for these guys, awesome. And all the best with your fundraise, working capital raise. That's important.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And of course, we have many common friends. The other Rohit that I know.
I know.
Yeah. So he's a great guy too. So we shall all catch up. And Vinay, thank you so much. Also, I've been you CrowdProduct. We have used your audience engagement tools in the past, not just at TIE but otherwise as well. So happy to see that you're doing so much of work. But do more, because you have an ability to grow. You can. I'm so happy to see that you're doing things in Africa, and maybe at TIE also. Let's see what we can do. And maybe Jagat, you think about how integrations can be done with Vinay, because they have a lot of these different user UI, UX, and they have some tools on how to make it look like a stage, a conference, audience engagement. Maybe we'll figure out those things also. And Jagat, you man, buddy, you're just giving this platform to people. You're helping so much, and we're trying to bring in
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So see, y'all are our guests, right, Vinay and Rohit? As Jagat says, y'all are our guests. So we want you to use this platform. And Jagat, yeah. So there is. By the way, the recording is on Facebook Live. It's on YouTube Live. The recording through Akhil and Jagat, the recording will be made available. Please share the word, because he also needs a lot of support.
Definitely.
Yeah, this is not a community, but he needs money as well. He needs customers. Pay money.
So Jagat, I have a nice feedback for you. I'm using all Zoom and all those things. The clarity, the technology is much better than what I'm using anywhere. They are whatever they are $1 million, $1 billion guys, but your technology is solving all my problems. The clarity is everything, and I think you have a great product.
Made my day, made my Diwali. Thank you so much.
And I think Jagat, you should also talk about that special offer that you had shared yesterday when we did a Startup Saturday.
Oh, yes.
When we got a League of Extraordinary Startups, episode 25. So maybe on a startup Sunday, you should tell the founders what is something that you can give to them.
Now I put my salesman hat on. So
I'll be in touch with you for again for our banking customers. We need a video solution. I'll
video KYC, I have something called vidkyc.com. You must check it out. Very useful.
super.
And also, yeah, just on the offer, my salesman cap is on. Just it's Diwali, and if you check vidphone.me, we are making available our 999 per month product today at 499. So if you take 1 year, 4,990 rupees, inclusive of all taxes. You have webinars and we're going to increase it to up to 100 users. So you choose which video platform you want for webinars. Happy to help anyone. Yeah.
Thank you. But we'll be in touch for taking offers for all our SME customers from you. I'll speak to you separately.
100%.
Okay, thanks for that, Rohit. And Rohit, you're also part of this Founders Forum WhatsApp group that we have created. Yep. We have more than 70 odd founders. So Vinay, you're also there. Like how to pay it forward is we want to help founders. Okay, I mean that's it.
Definitely.
This is TIE Bangalore. I'm not wearing that hat too much because it's mostly about the community. Okay, but we want to ties of Jagat is a member of TIE. Vinay is a consultant. He helps TIE with a lot of other things as well. But we want more founders to be able to. You guys are talking about this, right? We want to help founders. So add more founders to the group. Let's see what else we can do. We have this leadership startups. We have Startup Sunday. Many things, and Vinay, you also do so many activities. Let's figure out. We want to give voice to the startup founders, right? That's the main thing out here. Okay. And I'm not the entrepreneur. I'm not the founder.
I think a lot of founders out there have a lot of voice. I think we should come together and help each other.
Yeah, definitely. And anything, man. It doesn't need to be very formal. See, because think of the bandwidth, right? See, we did a dry run. We had to get you guys, and there are so many pings happening about how do I join, what do I do, what's going on. Crazy stuff sometimes. Jagat. So that's why I get also a little bit, like, man, how do I make sure that we maximize the reach? Because we want to help the founders.
Akhil, I think Akhil is our main man, and he always makes things happen. And he's watching. This is all Akhil.
Yes. And today was Diwali also, right? So happy Diwali once again to all our viewers, everyone who's watching. Thank you so much for, taking the time out for the support. And people like Shivi who are, wearing multiple hats, they're coming in and they're helping us out. And guys, that's it from my side. And
thank you, Vijetha. Thank you for doing all this and helping all of us and giving us a platform. Thank you so much.
Yes. So
thank you all so much.
Let's bring more founders together. Okay.
Yeah. Definitely.
And not just India. Okay? Not just India. Anywhere outside India as well. Let's do it, man. Let's rock.
Definitely.
Okay? Sure. Thank you, Jagat. Thank you, Akhil.
Thank you. All the best.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Happy Diwali to everyone.
Okay.
Namaste. Thank you. Thanks.
Is this still being recorded? Right, yes. Okay.